For our last and final speaker, who I'd like to welcome to the stage, Brother Mawi Learning from Harvard, 1999, talking about hitting the turbo button. Yeah, you've got your mic. Good job.
Good afternoon. Thank you to all the speakers so far for inspiring us and educating us. It's been tremendous, and I'm excited to share with you my piece. And for myself, I actually work full-time I have a leadership training company. This is what I do. So to be asked to speak on just one topic for 10 minutes, it's like a kid in a candy store, right? Like, what do I pick? There's so many that I like. And I'm going to share with you now, having spoken to over 1 million students the last 10 years, at more than 1,000 schools, I'm going to share with you about my favorite leadership concept and the one that I've gotten the best feedback from students when I've shared with them. And I'll start out by sharing with you a little bit of my own story, as I'm actually from East Africa. I'm from the country of Ethiopia. I was a refugee, fled my homeland to Ethiopia, and I was able to come to the United States and be resettled outside of Chicago here, about 20 minutes away. And I received a whole new life. Didn't know any English, learned the language, was able to access opportunity and live the American dream, and eventually get a scholarship to go to Harvard University. And so on that journey, leadership was something that was important to me because when I was about 14 or 15, really largely through my church and then some other sources, I got some great leadership training that empowered me to set goals, to think about things like service. And once I went on that journey in my own life, that fueled the passion that I now have today to help other folks develop their leadership skills. And so the story I'll share with you then is I'm going to tell you a story of something that I'm guessing most of the folks in here, most of you guys in here can relate to. How many of y'all have ever played video games at some point in your life? Ready to play video games? I mean, some of y'all probably played some video games today on your phone or something, right? And so I'm going to tell you a story about playing video games with my brother Hinsa. I was playing video games, and Hinsa's about 7 years younger than me, so he's usually got an edge on me with video games, right? Because when I was getting started, we were playing Ataris with just one button, right? And like a joystick. Now you got all these different things on there, so I feel like the younger generation has a little bit of an advantage. So we were playing, and my brother was killing me. We were playing basketball, and he was beating me 100 to 10. Just embarrassing, dunking on me, stealing the ball. And I couldn't even bring the ball up the court. Playing football, beating me 49 to 7, just creaming me in every way possible. And it was really frustrating. I turned to my brother, and he started laughing at me. And the reason he turned his joystick upside down, and there was a button I didn't know about on the other side of his joystick. It was the turbo button. And he'd been hitting his button, and that's why he was beating me 49 to 7. He was beating me 100 to 10. He had this whole new source of energy and ability from hitting this button. And what I want to propose to you today, brothers, my argument is that just like there's a turbo button on a joystick that you can press, and you can hit that button, and it allows you to zoom and do things and dunk and steal the ball every time and just destroy the competition and operate at a whole new level, I'll propose to you that there's also a turbo button inside of each of your hearts. That each and every single one of the brothers here, that you have a turbo button that's in your head and your hearts. And it's sitting right there, and it's always waiting for you to hit it. And you will have a choice in life throughout your entire life. You can choose to be one of two types of people. There'll be one type of people who go through life, and they don't hit their turbo button. They're going to go through, and they're going to be getting schooled and not doing these special things and amazing things. And it was just a moment away from hitting that button. And then the group that I hope you will be a part of, and I know so many of you already are a part of, is the folks that do hit their turbo button. And help you understand what the difference is, I'm going to tell you a story about a 7th grader that I worked with. This kid is named Andy. He had a problem. Andy had a big problem in his family. He had 2 aunts that were driving him mad. And the reason they were driving him mad was they were always talking behind his back in French. And he was convinced they were always saying things about him or telling jokes about him, and it was driving him crazy. And so you know what he did one day? He said, you know what? I'm going to teach myself 5 words a day, 5 French words a day. And after 30 days, I'm going to know 150 words. I'm going to understand a lot of what they're saying. So this guy, this 7th grader, taught himself basic French. over a month, and then he kept going. After a couple months, he just taught himself basic French. He actually was written up in Chicagoland's biggest suburban newspaper. It's called the Daily Herald. It has a circulation of, I believe, about 1 million people. And he was written up there because they were so amazed. This kid taught himself basic French to solve a problem. Well, his story shows you what it means to hit your turbo button. And it's simple. When you have a problem, or you have a dream, or you experience a situation, you take action. You do something about it. You hit that button. Now, if he hadn't hit that button, if he'd been over here in this group, and he'd just been like, man, you know what? Kind of stinks that they're talking about me, but you know what? You don't take French in 9th grade or 10th grade, and you know it takes a long time to learn French. How can you expect a 7th grader like me to pick that up? So these are the people that don't hit their turbo button, right? They're going to have stuff happen to them all the time. The world's always going to hit them in different ways, and they're going to be stuck. Now, Stephen Covey is one of the most respected leadership thinkers our country has ever produced. He passed away recently, in the last month. He wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is one of my favorite books, and a book that has been read by CEOs, political leaders, students, just anyone who wants to better themselves. The book has sold tens of millions of copies. Well, you know what his first principle is? It's be proactive. It's take action. It's do something. And one of my favorite things that Stephen Covey, Dr. Covey taught was he said that the person who takes action, they are 5,000 times more powerful than the person who doesn't take action. Let me say that again. The person who takes action is not 5 times more powerful. They're not 10 times more powerful. They're not 1,000 times more powerful. They're 5,000 times more powerful. And I think the proof of it is here in the last speaker. He took that action and he saved somebody's life. And what's more powerful than that? Christian hit his turbo button. Next thing you know, a young woman now can experience having her own family. She's going to be a productive member of our society because he took one action. That's what it means to have 5,000 times more action. So when you show up at your fraternity, and you show up in your life, for the adults that are here, like myself, who or for the family men like myself, who I have my own family. I have a 2- and 3-year-old. We're trying to lead in our families. And the question is, are we going to hit our turbo buttons or not? You know, you find your fraternity at a certain place, your chapter at a certain place. What actions will you have taken to move it forward? How will you have hit your turbo button? You know, how will the situation be different because you were there? You know, for the folks like myself who, you know, you got kids, you're trying to have a great family life. You know, if something's going wrong with your family, are you going to hit your turbo button or are you going to cry about it? What are you going to do about it? That's what that 7th grader taught himself basic French. What are you going to do? Another kid that I worked with that inspires me tremendously, his name is Kyle. This kid goes to a very wealthy high school right near here. It's called Lyons Township High School. And got to work with him very closely. And he was actually, you know, you can never judge a book by its cover. He's goes to this wealthy high school. He's attending there, and he has big problems, actually. He's in a group home, and he's never known his father. And his mother's going to be in jail for the next 12 years. It's a big problems, right? A lot harder than my aunts speak French behind my back. Right? So this kid is at school. He's in all remedial classes. And we were working with him, and we said, hey, Kyle, tell us about some of your dreams. Tell us about some of your challenges. What's going on in your head? And he told us, well, here's my problems. I never know my dad, and my mom's in jail for the next 12 years. I'm lonely. I wish I had a mom, and school stinks. I don't have a lot of friends, and he was a pretty awkward kid. And so, you know, we asked him, this is a question we always ask people. We say, hey, what can you do in the next 2 weeks? See, a lot of times when people have a problem or they're pursuing a dream or they want to have impact, they get paralyzed and overwhelmed by, oh, I got to do something that solves the entire problem this second. That's not, that's, a lot of times it's much more productive and helpful just to say, hey, what can you do by the end of this week? So you know what he decided he could do? He said, well, you know what? I can't break my mom out of jail. You know, I don't know where my dad is. I'm trying to find him. But you know what? I can write my mom a letter. He wrote his mom a letter. Didn't know if she was going to write him back. Well, his mom wrote him back. They traded letters back and forth for months, the entire year. And by the end, that experience of feeling like he had a connection with his mom and a relationship with her transformed him. He became a leader at the group home, helped the other kids hit their turbo button. And now, I'm proud to tell you, he's at Northern Illinois University. He was on the dean's list his freshman year. This is a kid who was taking remedial classes. He was on the dean's list his freshman year. He works to support a lot of his college education. And it's another great story of somebody saying, hey, let me hit that turbo button. So my question to you is this. When you wake up in the morning and you start your day, what kind of day are you going to have? Are you going to have a day where you just go through life and you're not hitting your turbo button and things are just happening and you got problems coming up or you have some dreams and you just kind of cruise through? Dr. Covey would argue you're going to be operating at the level of just having no power or just one power. Or when I was playing video games, getting schooled 100-0, 97-4, and not even knowing what's happening. And my challenge to you, brothers, is to operate the level over here, where you wake up every morning and you say, hey, how can I hit my turbo button today? How can I make a difference in my community? What actions can I take to solve a problem? What actions can I take to pursue a dream? And there's so many ways you can do this. There's a teacher we worked with. We said, hey, what can you do the next 30 days? Well, she'd always wanted to be a writer. And she's like, well, I can apply to this writing program I was always interested in. She applied and was accepted within 30 days. What are you going to do the next 30 days to move towards a goal that you have, or a dream that you have, or to serve somebody like we heard, or to make a difference in the world, or to help a young woman who would have died without you signing up for registry, and now because you took that action, she's going to have life? What are you going to do? How about when you get back with your chapters? How are you going to move that chapter forward? How are you going to be the person that's hitting that button again and again and again and again? Out of everything I've studied with leadership, and everything that I've learned, I love the turbo button the most. And the reason I love it the most is that to me it represents your ultimate right as a human being. Nobody can go inside your heart or your heart or your heart or your heart and hit that button for you. Nobody on the DU staff can do it. Your mom and dad can't do it. Your chapter president can't do it. Your best friend can't do it. The only person that can hit that turbo button and get you to do the things that you want to do is you. That's your most sacred right as a human being. That's why when I talk to a lot of parents, they're like, well, my kid won't do this. And I'm like, oh, you want to hit that turbo button for the kid so badly. But guess what, man? You can't do it. Every human being has the right to choose when and how they're going to hit their own turbo button. And you can't force somebody else to do it. And that's why I'm asking you, plainly, right now in your life, when you think about yourself, are you hitting your turbo button? Are you doing the things you're doing in life because you want to do them and you want to make the world better and you're ready to step up and take action? Or are you just going through your life? Because if you are, then you're wasting your life. I actually have a special gift for you. Students love this so much that I created turbo buttons. And this is a magnet that I hope you will take. You see it on your table. If you don't have enough on your table, you'll see some on the other tables. I want you to take this magnet and I want you to take it back to your chapter house and to your fraternity house. I want you to take a chapter, and I want you to put it up in different places there. And when you have a problem, or you have a dream, or you have an opportunity this coming year, I want you to go up and I want you to smack this button. I want you to say, hey, what would it mean for us to hit our turbo buttons right now? What would it mean for us to make a difference? What would it mean for us to take new action? What would it mean for us to do something? The reason I'm giving this to y'all is that a lot of times, having something physical that we can touch, that we can put up, we can smack if we feel like it, that gives us that extra connection that lets us operate on that leadership principle. So my challenge to you is simple. I have a 2- and 3-year-old like I shared with you. I will feel like I'll be done parenting when I know that my kids know how to hit their own turbo buttons. And it's something I can't do for them. And I hope that that's something you challenge yourself to do as well, is that every human being gets to the point where they look inside their heart and they say, hey, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I want to be a man of character. I want to be a difference maker. I want to make the world better because I want to do it. The turbo button's right here. I'm going to smack it. Thank you very much.